Has someone you love begun to show subtle yet concerning changes over the past year? Many of us imagine that death in old age comes suddenly, but the truth is that the body often sends quiet warnings, months, sometimes even a full year, before the final chapter of life begins. At first, these signals might seem to be nothing more than a natural part of aging, but later, in retrospect, families often realize that the clues were there all along. Recognizing these signs early does more than simply allow you to prepare emotionally. It gives you the opportunity to enhance the quality of life during those precious final moments. Consider, for instance, the matter of unintentional weight loss. You might initially notice that a belt fits looser or that clothes appear to hang differently. However, when weight loss occurs without any intentional change in diet or exercise, it is often a red flag that something deeper is happening within the body. The body, in its gradual shutdown, begins to lose its ability to absorb nutrients efficiently, and muscle mass, an essential component of overall strength, declines at an accelerated pace. This process, known as sarcopenia, is not merely about physical appearance. It signals that fundamental bodily systems are slowing down. In this phase, the body struggles with digestion and the uptake of nutrients, leading to an ongoing decline in energy and overall health. This decline, coupled with a reduced appetite, creates a scenario in which meals, once a source of joy and social connection, become sources of frustration and sadness. The diminishing pleasure in eating may also affect the individual's self-esteem as they confront the physical evidence of their body's gradual deterioration. Family members at times might mistakenly interpret this reduced appetite as a lack of interest in life, while in reality it is simply the body's way of indicating that it is beginning to conserve energy in response to its diminishing capacity. In addition to weight loss, another key indicator that the final year of life may be approaching is a profound, unrelenting fatigue. This is not the ordinary tiredness one might feel after a long day, but a deep exhaustion that seems impervious to rest. Activities that once brought satisfaction and a sense of independence, such as rising in the morning, engaging in conversation, or even moving from one room to another, suddenly become overwhelming challenges. This type of fatigue is a reflection of the declining function of vital organs like the heart and lungs, which, as they weaken, are less able to support the body's energy needs. The body, in its natural course toward conserving energy, begins to prioritize essential functions, leaving little reserve for even the simplest of tasks. This chronic exhaustion can lead to feelings of inadequacy and isolation, as the individual gradually loses the capacity to participate in activities that once defined their daily life. Family members may feel a profound sense of helplessness as they witness a once active loved one become increasingly dependent on others for even the most basic care. As the body continues its slow descent, cognitive changes often emerge. The mind, which was once sharp and agile, may begin to show signs of decline. You might observe that the individual starts to forget small details or struggles to follow conversations that were once second nature. Memory lapses, confusion about time or place, and even the inability to recall familiar faces become more common. These cognitive changes are not merely a product of advanced age. They often result from a combination of factors, including reduced oxygen supply to the brain, nutritional deficiencies, and changes in the brain's chemical balance. The decline in cognitive function is frequently accompanied by a withdrawal from social interactions. The individual, who may once have been lively and engaged, now appears to retreat into a quieter, more introspective state. This withdrawal is not a sign of apathy or indifference. Rather, it is the mind's natural response to the gradual loss of its ability to process information and maintain emotional connections. Conversations become more challenging, and even familiar surroundings can evoke a sense of disorientation. For family members, this shift in mental clarity is perhaps one of the most difficult aspects to witness, as it feels like losing the person they once knew long before their physical presence departs. Another significant change that often signals the approach of the final stage of life is a marked increase in the frequency of infections and a slowing of the healing process. The immune system, once a robust barrier against illnesses, gradually loses its efficiency. What was once a body capable of fending off common colds and minor cuts now becomes increasingly vulnerable to infections. Minor wounds that used to heal quickly now linger, and even the smallest infections can become a cause for concern. This decline in immune function is due to several factors, including a decrease in the production and effectiveness of white blood cells, a reduced ability of the body to circulate immune cells efficiently, and the chronic low-level inflammation that is often present in the elderly. These factors combine to create a scenario where infections become more frequent and recovery takes much longer than it once did. For families, this means that even what seems like a minor ailment must be treated with vigilance, as it may herald a broader decline in the body's ability to repair itself. Rather than pursuing aggressive treatments that may lead to further discomfort, the focus often shifts to maintaining comfort and preventing additional complications through careful, compassionate care. Perhaps one of the most visibly distressing changes in the final phase of life is the alteration in breathing patterns and circulation. You might notice that your loved one's breathing becomes irregular, sometimes slow and shallow, at other times marked by rapid bursts followed by long pauses. This cyclical pattern of breathing, known as Cheney-Stokes respiration, is a classic sign that the body is struggling to maintain adequate oxygenation. As lung function diminishes and the heart's ability to pump blood effectively declines, the body compensates by altering its breathing patterns. This can result in not only a noticeable change in the rhythm of breathing, but also a reduction in the overall quality of oxygen that reaches the tissues. Alongside these respiratory changes, circulation also suffers. Extremities may become cold, and the skin may appear pale or even take on a bluish tint due to the reduced flow of oxygenated blood. Such changes are often accompanied by a general sense of discomfort and difficulty in breathing, even with minimal exertion. For those watching, these signs can be profoundly distressing, evoking a mixture of fear and helplessness as they witness a loved one struggle to breathe. Yet understanding that these changes are a natural part of the body's final recalibration can help shift the focus from panic to proactive measures that prioritize comfort. Throughout this process, it is important to appreciate that these physical changes are accompanied by a complex interplay of emotional and psychological responses. The gradual loss of physical abilities and mental sharpness can trigger a wide range of emotions, both in the individual experiencing these changes and in the family members who bear witness. The realization that a loved one is nearing the end of life is accompanied by a deep sense of grief, even as the individual may also experience moments of acceptance or even gratitude for the life they have lived. Open, honest communication within the family becomes paramount during this time, as sharing feelings and concerns can help all parties navigate the emotional landscape of impending loss. Many families find solace in support groups or counseling services where they can speak freely about their fears and hopes without judgment. In these moments of vulnerability, every conversation, every shared memory, and every act of kindness becomes a testament to the enduring power of love and compassion. For caregivers, the journey through the final stages of life is as much about providing comfort as it is about managing the practical challenges that arise. Creating an environment that is both physically safe and emotionally nurturing can make a significant difference. Simple adjustments, such as modifying the living space to reduce the risk of falls, ensuring that the surroundings are calm and free of unnecessary clutter, and incorporating familiar, comforting objects, can help ease the transition. The goal is to foster an atmosphere where the individual feels secure and valued, where every small moment is an opportunity for connection. In many cases, the focus shifts from trying to extend life at all costs to ensuring that the quality of life is maintained to the fullest extent possible. This may involve making difficult decisions about the nature and extent of medical interventions, choosing instead to prioritize measures that alleviate pain and promote dignity. As the body undergoes these profound changes, practical steps can be taken to manage the symptoms and provide relief. When it comes to unintentional weight loss, for instance, keeping a careful record of dietary habits and monitoring changes in appetite can offer valuable insights. Consulting with healthcare providers and nutrition specialists can help determine whether the weight loss is a natural progression of aging or indicative of an underlying condition that requires attention. In many cases, the emphasis shifts from trying to reverse the weight loss to ensuring that the individual receives nutrient-dense foods that are easy to digest and help maintain energy. Meals may be smaller and more frequent, focusing on comfort foods that offer both nutritional value and a sense of familiarity. The aim is not to force the body to consume more than it can handle, but rather to provide a steady stream of nourishment that supports the body's remaining energy reserves. Similarly, the pervasive fatigue that characterizes the final year of life calls for a reevaluation of daily routines. Rather than pushing the body to engage in activities that may lead to further exhaustion, caregivers are encouraged to tailor schedules to allow for ample rest. Gentle physical activity, such as short walks or light stretching, can be beneficial without overwhelming the body. The key is to strike a balance between maintaining a degree of activity that supports muscle function and ensuring that the individual is not pushed beyond their limits. In this context, the support of occupational therapists and physiotherapists can be invaluable. These professionals offer guidance on energy conservation techniques and adaptive equipment that can ease the strain of daily activities. Ultimately, the goal is to create a routine that respects the natural rhythms of the body while still fostering a sense of engagement and purpose. The changes in cognitive function present perhaps one of the most challenging aspects of this journey. As the mind begins to falter, everyday interactions can become a source of frustration for both the individual and their loved ones. Shortened attention spans, memory lapses, and confusion can make conversations laborious and even lead to misunderstandings. In response, caregivers are advised to communicate with patience and empathy, adapting their speech to be clear, concise, and filled with reassuring familiarity. Creating a stable, predictable environment can help reduce the anxiety that often accompanies cognitive decline. Familiar routines and cherished mementos serve as anchors in a world that is rapidly changing. In some cases, engaging in activities that stimulate the mind, such as listening to favorite music, reminiscing over old photographs, or participating in simple puzzles, can provide moments of clarity and joy. These interactions, though seemingly small, can have a profound impact on the emotional well-being of both the individual and their family. The decline in immune function, marked by frequent infections and a slowed healing process, underscores the body's diminishing ability to defend itself. For many elderly individuals, what was once a minor cut or bruise can evolve into a serious issue, taking weeks to heal and sometimes requiring prolonged courses of treatment. The body's natural defenses, including the activity of white blood cells and the efficiency of the circulatory system, are compromised as it enters its final phase. In this context, the approach to care shifts from aggressive treatment to gentle management. Maintaining good hygiene, using protective creams on vulnerable skin areas, and ensuring that even minor wounds are treated promptly can help prevent complications. The focus is on minimizing discomfort and avoiding unnecessary interventions that might exacerbate the overall decline. Families are encouraged to work closely with healthcare providers to strike the right balance between vigilance and compassion, ensuring that each infection is addressed in a way that aligns with the overarching goal of preserving quality of life. As the physical changes continue, the alterations in breathing and circulation become ever more apparent. The once steady rhythm of breathing may give way to irregular patterns, with periods of rapid, shallow breaths interrupted by long, quiet pauses. This irregularity is a natural response to the body's dwindling ability to maintain oxygen levels, as the lungs and heart struggle to keep pace with the body's demands. Cold extremities, a pallid complexion, and even a bluish tint to the skin are external manifestations of the internal struggle to circulate blood effectively. For family members, these changes are often the most immediately distressing to observe. The act of breathing, a process that is both automatic and essential, takes on a new, almost painful significance as each breath becomes a reminder of the inevitable decline. In response, caregivers can adopt a variety of measures designed to ease the discomfort associated with these changes. Adjusting the sleeping position to elevate the head, using humidifiers to moisten the air, and, when necessary, employing oxygen therapy under medical supervision are all strategies that can help improve the individual's breathing comfort. Such measures, though they may not reverse the underlying decline, can make a significant difference in the quality of the remaining time. In the midst of these physical transformations, it is essential to recognize that the journey toward the end of life is also deeply emotional and psychological. The realization that a loved one is nearing the end of their journey can evoke a wide spectrum of emotions, from deep sorrow and anxiety to moments of profound gratitude for the time spent together. It is a time when every memory, every shared smile, and every act of kindness becomes imbued with an even greater sense of significance. Open dialogue within the family is crucial during this period. Sharing feelings and fears, as well as seeking support from friends, counselors, or support groups, can provide much-needed relief and reassurance. The process of grieving often begins long before the final moments, and acknowledging this gradual loss is an important step in finding a measure of peace amid the inevitable decline. For caregivers, the challenges of this journey extend beyond the immediate demands of physical care. The emotional toll of witnessing a loved one's decline can be overwhelming, leading to feelings of isolation, exhaustion, and even guilt. It is imperative that caregivers also find ways to care for themselves during this time. Whether through respite care, counseling, or simply taking moments to breathe and reflect, self-care is not a luxury, but a necessity. By nurturing their own well-being, caregivers are better able to provide the compassionate, patient support that their loved ones need. This reciprocal care, where both the caregiver and the recipient are treated with empathy and respect, can help transform what is an inherently painful process into one that is also rich in moments of love and connection. Amid the many practical considerations, dietary adjustments, medication management, and the coordination of professional care, there is also a profound opportunity to create lasting memories and honor the legacy of the individual. Every shared meal, every gentle conversation, and every moment of quiet understanding becomes a part of a larger tapestry of love and remembrance. Whether it is through recording video messages, writing letters, or simply sitting together in silence, these moments serve as reminders that even in the face of decline, life remains filled with meaning. The act of cherishing each day, of finding beauty in the ordinary, is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Throughout this journey, many families find that the support offered by palliative care and hospice services becomes an indispensable part of the process. These services are not about prolonging life at any cost. Rather, they focus on ensuring that the final days are spent with dignity, comfort, and a deep sense of peace. The professionals involved in palliative care understand that the ultimate goal is not to fight the inevitable, but to make the transition as gentle and loving as possible. Their guidance, whether in managing symptoms, coordinating care, or simply providing a listening ear, can be a source of immense comfort to both the patient and their family. In reflecting on these changes, it is clear that the process of aging and the approach of the end of life is as much a natural journey as it is one filled with challenges. The body, in its remarkable complexity, begins to slow down and reallocate its energies in ways that signal a profound transformation. These changes, though difficult to witness, are not a sudden collapse but a gradual, measured recalibration of the systems that have sustained a lifetime. It is in this context that each sign, whether it is the loss of weight, the onset of fatigue, the quiet retreat of cognitive function, the increased susceptibility to infections, or the alterations in breathing and circulation, must be understood as part of a larger narrative of life itself. In the midst of this inevitable decline, there is a call to embrace every moment with love and compassion. The physical changes are accompanied by deep emotional shifts, and while the reality of the situation can be heartbreaking, it also opens a space for profound connection. Family members are encouraged to engage in open dialogue, to share memories, and to allow themselves to grieve while also celebrating the beauty of the shared journey. In doing so, they not only honor the life that is coming to a close, but also reinforce the bonds that will endure even after the final farewell. Ultimately, what remains most important is the preservation of dignity and the affirmation that every moment is precious. Even as the body signals its gradual withdrawal, there is an opportunity to create a final chapter that is rich with meaning. A chapter defined not by fear or regret, but by the warmth of shared smiles, the comfort of familiar voices, and the quiet strength of unconditional love. In these moments, every act of care becomes a legacy, every gesture a testament to the resilience and compassion that bind us together. For those facing these challenges, whether as a caregiver or as a family member, know that you are not alone in this journey. There are communities of support, professionals who specialize in guiding families through this transition, and countless others who have walked this path before. It is a journey marked by both sorrow and beauty, by loss and by the enduring light of human connection. And in the midst of it all, the simple act of being present, of holding a hand, sharing a memory, or listening with an open heart, can make all the difference in transforming a difficult time into one of profound grace and love. As you reflect on these experiences and consider the signs that may be unfolding before you, take a deep breath and allow yourself to accept the reality of the situation with compassion. The journey toward the end of life is not a failure or a defeat, but a natural progression that calls for tenderness and understanding. By acknowledging the physical, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of this process, you open the door to a final chapter that, while filled with challenges, is also imbued with the possibility of connection, remembrance, and a deep, abiding sense of peace. In the end, what matters most is that every moment is met with kindness, that every need is addressed with care, and that the legacy of love continues to shine brightly, even as the body gradually prepares to rest. Embrace the journey, cherish the shared experiences, and know that in every farewell, there is the quiet promise of a love that transcends even the final breath.